Are you looking to learn more about your spiritual journey? Are you on a healing journey? Have you tried conventional ways of healing but didn't get the results you desired? If so, this podcast is for you. My name is Reverend Dr. Jackie Cope, and I'm a metaphysical minister, intuitive guide, and teacher. Here at Raven Rabbit, we believe that your ancestors, spiritual guides, and divine self are ready and eager to help you heal and prosper. We approach life, healing, and happiness through a holistic, indigenous spiritual lens to create the lives we want. Join me to radically change your life today. Hello, and welcome to the Raven Rabbit Wellness Studio podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Jackie Cope, and I'm here to wish you a happy new year. Welcome to 2025. This is just so exciting. This is such a great year. I'm so excited to be starting this year. I'm grateful to be alive today. So, welcome to episode 35. I'm turning 35 years old today on episode 35. When I started out with my podcast journey, I really wanted to it was two ways. There was the way I used to always be was I have to do this and make this crazy schedule. And I was like, I'm going to be laid back about this. I'm not going to make that crazy schedule. I'm not going to put these high expectations on myself. I'm just going to do what divinely comes to me. And we're here now. I've been recording this for about a year and a half, and I'm at episode 35 on my 35th birthday. So everything is just divinely aligning, and I'm learning to find my voice with this podcast and really stand for who I am, what I believe, why I'm here, and just sharing my beliefs out there in the world. And I have been learning so much. I'm so grateful for the listeners that I have and all the experiences I've had leading up to this point that I even get to share about. And I've been starting to get a little more vulnerable on my social media platforms. So if you don't follow me on there, definitely head over there and take a look. I'm definitely shifting into a more confident era and a more in my voice and in my power era. Like I said, I'm 35 now. And last year when I turned 34, I was just so excited. I was so excited to be 34 years old. That is my favorite number, 34. And 34 was everywhere that year, last year. And I went through some trials and tribulations last year. I had a big medical scare. I had brain surgery at 22 weeks pregnant. Life was just totally different last year. Nothing I could have ever expected. And now that I'm here at year 35, I am just beyond grateful and also not wanting to waste any time with my message, my platform, with my clients, with my listeners. I want to get to know you. I want to dive deep into this work I've been setting myself up to do. And I'm so excited. So, like I said, I'm getting a little more vulnerable in my social media platform. I did a few posts. This is kind of just an update episode and just talking and just channeling and rifting. Anything that needs to be shared will be shared. And one thing I wanted to offer up during our time together is like when things resonate, that's great. Take that, run with it. If it resonates with you, that's wonderful. And if it doesn't, just leave it. It's just not meant for you. And it doesn't mean that I'm not a great coach, teacher, healer. It doesn't mean that my ideals or things that I do are not working. We're just looking for the right thing for you if something hasn't resonated yet. So, or if it ever will. Just take what you want and leave the rest, is my point. So, I have been sharing a lot on my social media. I have a few sections I want to start sharing a little more deeply about. I want to talk about my medical history more on my social media, and I want to talk about discrimination and social justice more on my platform. And I also want to talk about like my love life, past relationships, ex last marriage. Like I want to talk about all of that more freely, more openly. I'm healed from a lot of it. Not saying that something might not come up and trigger me or have me do even deeper work because that's how the shadow works, but I'm really in a place now that is just so different than it's ever been before. And it really comes a lot from that gratitude after my brain surgery. So I kind of wanted to analyze some of these here. Oh, the noise is on my phone. Here we go. So, one of the first posts I made was I'm a public school teacher and I was harassed by a white woman leader who wrote me up for 208 infractions and a 12-page write-up. I taught kindergarten. Her attack against me was a huge catalyst to deep inner healing and self-work. So, what do I mean by that? What's the point of this post? It's that some things, like when that happened to me, I was in a spiral. I was such a mess. So there had been a lot of things going on at the school I was at and with that particular leader, and things were just really hard. And the school had been an attack of a racist graffiti that had happened that I was very unhappy with, calling out two American Indian kids to be killed. I ran the Native American Club. I was very scared. I was not happy. And she in retaliation, I wrote a complaint about that. In retaliation, she wrote me up. She wrote, well, it wasn't even really a write up. It was too hard to explain in one post. She gave me a verbal warning. But I say it was a write up because she literally handed me a 12-page document of everything written down, even though it was a verbal warning. So it wasn't a very fair situation or just situation. And in that document, it it says stuff that I did supposedly. There was no time, no place, no witnesses. She couldn't tell me anything because for the safety of others, it was very bogus. It was very made up. And with it came all the ed code, and there's these things called California teaching standards, and the California teaching standards I had broken. And she copy and pasted like all of them. And when I finally counted them all in this 12-page document, there was 208 things that she claimed I had broken. And we had less than a 5-minute verbal warning. So we had a less than a 5-minute verbal warning meeting about um, my behavior. And she turned around and said, you're supposed to have this little paper that you sign that's like, yes, I went to the meeting. I received this information. That's what you have to sign. It's not that you're signing an agreement. You're signing in receipt of. And when I got that document, I did not want to sign it. I was like, we had like a 3-minute meeting. It was so fast. She didn't even talk about all of these things. You couldn't have even read that 12-page document in 3 minutes. It would have been impossible. So how is it that I'm signing this? Because she never even actually went over any of these things. So that's kind of like where that post is coming from. So I had a lot of like really hard things. Like my job as a teacher was my life. And when I started being attacked by her, and I started to think about what really matters to me in life. What am I really here for? And yeah, it's that I'm a teacher, but in what capacity? And in what way am I a teacher? Because I'm a teacher in more than just in the one way we think about with public education. I'm a teacher in general of a lot of things. So I really started to dig deep into what being a teacher meant to me. And at the time, I was pursuing my yoga certificate, and I was like, maybe I'm meant to teach in a different capacity. And I really got into my yoga, and then I started taking metaphysics, and I'm like, I really want to start teaching spiritually aligned topics. And that's what I do here at Raven Rabbit is I teach spiritually aligned things. One of my courses that I have right now that's about spiritually aligned is Mystic Rice. And so if you're interested in dabbling and learning more about spirituality, I definitely suggest you go check out my Mystic Rise courses. I have 3 complete, 2 more are coming. I just do them in divine time. I try not to be so rigid on myself in this crazy world that we've been taught that we have all these timelines and deadlines, and so they come when they come, and they're great. And then let's see. What was my next post I had here? My other post that I recently wrote. Oh, let's see. Another one about that same situation. So after she wrote me up for 208 things, I complained again, saying I'm being retaliated against. Like, somebody help me. There's something not right in this situation. So after I complained again, this is the next post. A white woman leader involuntarily forced transferred me to teach another grade level because I would be a good fit to teach American Indian history. I'm an American Indian woman, not a historian or a pawn in a white woman's quest to appear just. So yeah, after she did all of that to me that I just explained. She then sent me an email. So I have it in written form. This is not just like, oh, he said, she said that to me. She wrote me an email like 8 o'clock in the morning. No idea that this was going to happen to me. When in our contract and stuff, it says we're supposed to have like meetings. It's supposed to be kind of like out there, like, hey, this could happen to you. You can end up being transferred. And so you're kind of in the know of it. I had no idea, totally blindsided. She cites the contract in the email, and she says, you're being forced transferred to the fourth grade because of your American Indian knowledge. Have you ever read the Title 7, 1964 Civil Rights Act? You can't transfer somebody based off of a stereotype you might have about their knowledge because of their race. And that goes for other things too, like their gender. So for me in particular, it was my race. Just because I'm Native American, just because I'm Washoe, doesn't mean I'm going to be teaching a full-blown American Indian histories course. Just like, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I'm going to be sitting here teaching you Anatomy of the Woman 101 like I know everything. Just because I am that thing does not make me an expert, nor does it give you grounds to transfer somebody. I don't have an American Indian history degree. All I have is just, traditional knowledge, indigenous knowledge, and family knowledge. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's all wonderful, great stuff. But when we're talking in the sense of academics, I don't have what an academic institution would consider applicable to be transferring somebody. So I really fought that hard too. I fought that really hard. And I eventually did not end up getting forced transferred. She revoked it because I threw such a big stink. But I left that school anyways at that time because I was like, I'm not going to stay. It was revoked for 1 year. Like they gave me protection for 1 year. Like, oh, she won't do it to you this year, but there's no promises after that. I'm like, I'm not sticking around to find out whether my job is safe or not, whether I'm going to be teaching something based off my race or off of my skill set and knowledge. So I had to do a lot of learning with those situations. So that's what that post was about. Let's see, what was my next post? Oh, this one gets really good. I have not talked about my divorce a lot. A lot of it was really wounding and painful and things I just never discuss. And I want to be more open and more in discussing these types of things, especially now that I'm in a really good place with it all. I really want to share the medicine and how I got through. I want to share that with you and my other clients. So what I had written was, hmm, let's see, let's open up this one. This reel I put, my Christian ex-husband dropped a bombshell on me at 7 years into marriage. He used marital funds to pay for sex workers while overseas. I never told a soul. I was isolated, ashamed, and felt worthless. Not talking about some of the most painful things leads to even more pain. So that's a reel that I made. What I loved about this reel, I knew I wanted to share this like little piece of me that's really, I think, important to knowing me and my viewpoint. Um, I was just filming my cards that day, just with that floating in my head, and I was like, I haven't cleansed my cards in a long time, and so I'm going through my tarot decks, my oracle decks. And in this particular video, I'm doing my tarot deck, and the Eight of Swords falls out. And I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be perfect for this story I've been wanting to share about all this pain I had in my first marriage and how wounding it was and how hard it was. And there was the Eight of Swords. So I am not a tarot expert. I just do tarot for myself and a little on the side, and I'm still learning. But Eight of Swords, it's got eight swords driven into the ground, and it's another sword. Let's see, let me look at the picture again. But it has a woman like shackled up. She's all tied up, she's blinded. Um, and all the swords are around her. And I'm like, man, that's how I used to be. Like, I used to be so held back by all of the secrets I held on to from that first marriage. And with this rumbling of me wanting to share more about that first marriage and what really happened, it's like breaking away all of those shackles and all of that stuff that used to blind me and hurt me and keep me brought and kept me down. So I thought that Eight of Cards fallout, it wasn't a pull, it was a fallout, was just beautiful and so aligned and such a message that I'm not going to be that woman anymore. I'm not going to be blindfolded and tied up and oh gosh, I don't want to say stuck with this narrative. Just like the burden of, I won't be carrying the burden of the narrative. The narrative exists. That's what happened to me. But the important part is, how did I move forward again? How did I go back into another relationship? How did I fall back in love? How did I heal from all of that past wounding? And so, like I said in that post, was that my ex-husband committed infidelity by hiring sex workers in a third world country. And I've spoken about this a little bit before because I do recall saying in one of my past episodes, like, there's a difference. I'm not out here to get sex workers. That's not the point. We live in America, first world country, where we have rights in place and we have freedom of choice. I'm talking about sex workers in a third world country who don't have those same rights going into it. And so you never know their particular situation. And chances are, in a third world country, we're not talking about the same rights like sex workers and stuff. I wouldn't even probably classify them as a sex worker because chances are they're being exploited and used in a third world country in order to for capital gains. And so when we think about it in that standpoint, I was really disgusted in my ex-husband for being involved in that, for using his our hard-earned money on that, like our marital funds. Like, that's just so disgusting to me and so disappointing. And and then it just ruined the for me at the time, it ruined the sanctity of marriage. It was like marriage was just so ruined for me. Sex was so ruined for me. I just was not having any of it. I was not happy. At that time too, when he told me all of that, I went into a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of self-hate. I took a lot of it like on myself. Like, I figured I had the wrong perspective at the time. The perspective was he did those things to me because I'm not enough. That was a narrative I would tell myself. If I had just kept my husband happy, he wouldn't be out seeking these other thrills in life and these other avenues that are to me unacceptable. So I took it a lot from like I I did wrong. And it's really important too that I pointed out that my ex-husband was Christian. His family was like Bible thumpers. They were too much for me. The Christian aggression was like insane, like always pushing it down your throat, always forcing you to talk about God or you need to go to church. And it was always just way too much and way too overwhelming. It was not in the type of world I was raised at all. And it was very off-putting because they would be like these Bible thumpers and tell you how to do things and what was right and what was wrong, yet be very contradictory of it all. The way they treated others, the way they just treated me on a daily basis was pretty poor. And then the talking behind people's backs. I was like, this is not how it's supposed to be. And so he came from a very Christian family and claimed Christianity, and he had his quarrels, you go up and down with it's for some people they go up and down with their spirituality, more of like Christianity. I wouldn't even call it spirituality, of being on the fence or not, believing in the church or not. And he had his own personal issues with that. But at the end of the day, if you would have asked, like, are you Christian? He would have been like, yes. And the family was just overly Christian in a very negative, unhelpful way. And I don't think that he ever told them what he had really done, and I don't think they really know the whole situation, because when you start getting into sex in the Bible. It has its own opinions too. But for me, it's just I was being indoctrinated with Christianity in the sense of this is a wife has all this responsibility. You're supposed to do these things for your husband. You're supposed to keep your husband happy. And like listening to that narrative, I was like, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? Why would he do this? Well, it's because of me. And that was, if you're in that situation now, I'm going to tell you right now, it is not you. You are not the problem. If a person in your partnership is out there seeking these other things, it's on them. It's totally 100% them. And I could not accept that answer for the longest time. And it was devastating. It just wrecked me. It ruined me. It ruined relationships. It ruined how I treated myself. It ruined the relationship I had with myself because of what he had done. And the way I had taken it. So now looking back, and moving forward, I had to learn that there's a separation. When somebody is willing to do things like that, that's them. That's their own battle. I don't even know what to call his because it's not mine to figure out. That's just all of his stuff and the things he has to work out. And what I had to work out was that I am my own independent person. I do not control anybody. I cannot control anybody. I can only control my emotions, my thoughts, my reactions, and I can accept or not accept how I'm being treated. So that took years to like get through and to get to that point. And so now there's just so much more love. I have forgiven myself from all of that. I have let it go. Lots of cord cutting ceremonies with all of that. A lot of personal work, a lot of meditation, a lot of affirmations, a lot of Reiki. I've done a lot of things, and that's not just for that situation. That's for both situations I had posted about recently. So, healing work. If we get back to this was just a channel message. I had really no point to this episode other than to tell you Happy New Year, but I think that channel message is coming through now, and it gets into how important your healing journey is and what is the healing work. For me, the healing work was looking at the shadows. And I would hear that and be like, well, what's that? What shadows? What are you talking about? And it was sitting with those most uncomfortable emotions. Like, why did I hate myself? So I'd sit there with that in meditation. Like, why do I dislike myself so much? What really is it? And a lot of it had to go around like expectations. Well, I expect all these crazy things from myself and I'm never going to get there. And then I keep moving the mile marker. Like you could see that in my education journey. Like, oh, if I just graduate college, I've done it. Oh, if I just get my master's, I've done it. If I get my doctorates, I've just have done it. If I go on and learn about metaphysics, I'll have just done it. Like the mile marker is always moving. I cannot keep tying my self-worth to those types of outcomes. My self-worth is just I'm a spiritual being and I'm deserving, period. That's it. I'm a spiritual being and I'm deserving. So just going through and starting to write these mantras and affirmations down and then fully believing them all the way through. So I say I'm a spiritual being. Constantly, I'm a spiritual being. Because I was also really defined by my worth of my title too. Like I'm a teacher. I used to always say before, I'm a teacher. I don't tie that into my self-worth anymore. I am a spiritual being. I'm a spiritual being who's an excellent teacher. So it's just the way you have to start rewording these things and talking to yourself. And it takes a long time because when things would go wrong before, I would immediately go to, you're so stupid. You can't do this. You're always doing everything wrong. Why can't you get it right? I had to start letting go of all of that and being like, this isn't in divine timing right now. This isn't meant for me right now. What is spirit trying to show me that I need right now? And so asking those questions too. One of my biggest things also with the healing journey has been speaking out loud to my guides and to the universe. It started with the universe and God more because that's where I'm more familiar. Is like if you're already Christian or whatever religion, you're already praying to God, you're already having that open dialogue. Start having it more. And if you're not, just start having open dialogue with yourself. As an only child, maybe other only children too could relate, is I constantly talk to myself anyways. So instead of directing it so much to myself, I direct it to higher self, universe, creator at the beginning. Now I get specific too with guides, but when you're just starting out, you might not be really specific yet on your guide and who is your guide, and but you can learn that over time. So as these negative self things would come up, I would ask, why does that make me so mad? Why do I have these feelings of anger? And then that's when you're doing the shadow work. When you finally ask yourself that question, instead of saying, oh, that makes me so angry, and just being angry, being like, why did I get a reaction? Why does that provoke a reaction in me? Where is that coming from? And then asking yourself, is that mine? Am I even supposed to feel anger from that? Because a lot of times I've been learning lots of things are not mine. And I sit here and I gather all these things I will come through. And I think a lot of women and a lot of people pleasers and a lot of healers will go through and they'll just start gathering like, oh, this person in my life is sad. So you pick up that and you pick up this other energy. And before you know it, you're just carrying the weight of so much stuff. So then you have to ask yourself, what is mine? And what do I need to let go of? And so when I started doing that, I started realizing, wow, I have a lot of misplaced energy, misplaced feelings, and then it all gets interpreted and messed up in my brain because I try to consciously solve it. And that's not the point. That's not what I should be doing. That one has been a game changer for me in my current relationship. What is mine? Because before in my relationships, I have always been like, oh, you're a team. You have to do everything together. Life is, we're spiritual beings. We have our own unique things we came here to do. Some things that happen to or for my partner or are for him. They're not for me. I'm just here as a supporting role. I can just hold him through that. That's where we talk about holding space. And that's totally fine. I don't have to carry the entire burden. It's not me to carry. So when I think back to my first marriage, the amount of pain and guilt and shame and all of those things I was holding wasn't mine, was not mine to hold or take accountability for. Like those were his issues, his things, what he needed to go through. What I needed to learn was self love and self worth and self determination. And through that, then I found who I was. Other things like trying to figure out why has this happened to me? That's not going to help. And so that's what I feel like my channel message was today. If you're on your healing journey, just know that you're not alone. You can definitely sit with your emotions and start asking yourself, why did I have that emotion? Why was that triggering? And I was starting to talk about like reaching out to the universe, creator, God. You can start reaching out to those beings and asking those questions. And then you're going to receive back information. And this is where it starts to get a little more complicated in spirituality, where we feel like we're not connected because we don't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything because we really just think about those tangible things. But in spirituality, it can just be the message can come to you in so many ways. I am more clairaudience. Like I hear a lot of things in my head. When my guides talk to me, I'm hearing a voice in my head telling me something specific. Once in a while, I see things. Like I'll see, like it's when you start thinking about synchronicities, maybe you'll start seeing a synchronicity around you. Maybe that's your answer. So sometimes those answers are immediate, depends on how much you're practicing and doing and talking. And sometimes you'll hear it right away. Sometimes it's just a deep knowing. That one my mom gets a lot. When she's like, I don't know why I think this and where it came from, but this is it. That's that inner knowing. You just know. And so your guides are going to come to you in different ways, and you have to be ready to listen. Oh, that's a fun one. I probably need to do a whole episode about this. You'll have to comment and let me know, but um how Oh, I just lost it and went away. Maybe Spirit's like, no, you're not doing an episode on that. It went away so fast. That's so crazy. See, that's when you have to listen to Spirit. You have to listen to Spirit. Oh, it was about, it's coming back. Um, how when Spirit is telling you things, how it'll start off small. And are you going to do those small things? It's almost for me, I felt like I was being tested. If you start doing those small things, okay, I'm going to share with you a bigger message and a bigger message. And then we're going to get to the point where I'm at now where we have these large conversations and it's just like a rolling conversation and I just start channeling information. So if you're interested in a whole episode about that, I would love to do that and share about how my conversations have evolved over time with higher self, spirit, universe, and then more specifically, like my guides. So, with that, I'm going to leave it there today. Happy New Year. Happy birthday to me. Happy 35th birthday to me. And happy 35th episode on the Raven Rabbit Wellness Studio podcast. I'm available here for you. If you have any questions, you can contact me on my website. There's a contact form. By all means, like drop a comment. If you're listening to me and if you want to, if you feel called to, if you can just share that you've listened to the episode, tag me that I know. If you have any questions or comments about the episode, just let me know. I would love to hear what you would like to discuss, what you want to know more about, what like burning questions you've been having about spirituality. And let's dive in deep this year in 2025. Oh, on another note, too, if you go to my website, I am having let me see here really quick. Let me look. I'm very excited about this. I am going to be sharing deeper episodes. It's called the Wellness Studios Secret Exclusive Podcast. So I already have those mapped out for the year. It's going to be one podcast per month where I'm really going to get into the nitty and gritty, like stuff that I don't feel so comfortable just sharing out there in the Spotify world for free. It's really meant for my client, for you, like my people who are just like really with me and all this spirituality stuff and want to hear my even deeper thoughts. So that is up for sale. I'm going to be posting the first episode for January soon. I don't have any specific date, like I said. The only time, like a deadline or time frame I'm giving myself is that it is once a month. That is like a for sure thing. It's going to be once a month. It's going to be $20.25 for the year of 2025. And I'm just going to start getting in deep and talking. I got all my topics that they just divinely came to me one day. I just wrote them down, like each topic that I was going to talk about really deeply that I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable sharing in a free setting for all to just hear. I want my like people who are with me and who get it to be into that space. It's also going to be on my website, which is also a little more interactive instead of this podcast setting here on Spotify. It's in the class. I'm going to have the comment section open. You're going to have access to me. You're going to be able to make comments or ask questions about the episodes. So we're going to have like a little community there too of just talking and sharing. So, um, Wellness Studios secret exclusive podcast over on my website, www.ravenrabbit.com. I would love to see you inside of that container and just to share with you and to get really deep. So I'll just leave it there today. Thank you so much. I love you and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Expand the life, healing, and happiness of others in your field by sharing this episode. You can get more of my content and other helpful tips by following Raven Rabbit LLC on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Be sure to comment on Spotify and answer the episode's question so I can keep creating content you love and desire. Thank you so much.